Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. We had Izuku. Izuku woke up in Storm's bed. He then got information from Miss Costa about what Tony Stark has done within the last 24 hours. Deku, he saw that Tony Stark released extremists onto the App Store. He then went to go confront him with Carol Danvers. Originally, Deku was going to confront Tony about his drinking problem. However, this is now priority. On the way, he looked at some information, and Miss Costa pointed out to him that Tony Stark not only has released extremists onto the App Store, he's also been trying to buy up every company in New York, along with Hammer Industries. And Deku, he wanted to stop by and see about what was going on with Sasha. Check in and see how she handled the news, if not handled the offer. Her company, Hammer Industries, is worth almost $100 billion, and Tony Stark offered her almost $200 billion. Fact is, he thought about capping off that number nice and round at $200 billion, and she refused the offer. He then made a threat on her life and the life of their unborn child. And Deku, he was not happy about this. He asked Captain Marvel to stay here and guard Miss Danvers. She already does have security, but some extra muscle does not mean a bad thing. And Deku, he went to go encounter Tony. Eventually Carol did show up, and both Deku and Carol saw the way Tony was acting. And Deku, he was not happy about it. He talked to Tony privately in the air, and has discovered this man may not be Tony Stark. He took up the challenges of being Iron Man. He talked about everything he's done in the last years to be where he is. And all Tony did is disregard it. All he did was shrug it off and act like Izuku was a nobody. That is not Tony Stark. Tony Stark was a good man. The thing in his place right now, the superior Iron Man, is not. And while Tony was doing all this, Deku, he left. Carol also got to see her past right in front of her. There were numerous quote-unquote heroes at the party. People took on the appearance of them, and a woman was indulging in drinking while having Carol's appearance whenever she was younger, when she was still known as Miss Marvel, and she herself had her own problems. Now, Deku left, and right now we do currently have almost a week later. Deku, he has tried talking to heroes. He saw extremists begin to give Stark Industries a massive boom in revenue. Just massive record-breaking profits. They were currently making a lot of money. Currently, Sasha Hammer is in hiding. And Deku, he's got a lot going through his head. No superhero has responded to anything he sent out. Nobody has given him a call back. Nobody's talked to Iron Man. Nobody knows what's going on with the Avengers. And nobody could tell him why Mr. Stark is acting this way. Yeah, something is going on, and Deku wants to get to the bottom of it. He has also given Robert Reynolds the offer to look like the Sentry with the Extremist app. He's isolated it, put it onto a new network, and made a version of it specifically for Robert. One that will not be addictive, and one that will allow him to conquer his own mind. Give him the physical appearance, and over time, he will begin to think like the Sentry. Maybe even subconsciously use his powers, and not be afraid of the void. That was the plan. And currently we do actually have Deku, who does sit there in his lab, him staring at information and looking at a lot. Deku has been monitoring crime in New York City, and it certainly is bad. Extremists cost $100 a day, and 1 month, that is around $3,000. So in a year, that comes out to 365. That means that you pay $36,500, $36,600 on a leap year. So yeah, it does mean quite a bit. Deku wants to confront Tony Stark. The man clearly is showing off his worst traits. He's gone back into the warmongering profiteer he once was. Tony is building weapons again. He built a new armor and released extremists. Fact of the matter is, this man is not Tony Stark. Deku hates to admit it, but he's put together a bit of a timeline. He only popped back up after the Reality Stone was taken away from his mind. During that time, Deku took great care not to mess with reality. He had to be careful with every single thought going through his head, for fear that he would erase something or create something in reality. And he believes that right now Tony Stark is one of the things he created. One of the worst versions of Tony Stark. An Iron Man who shouldn't exist. And this means a lot. If this is the worst thing that can be made from his mind, it's essentially the worst version of Iron Man. And Deku wants to take care of that immediately. He wants to make sure that Tony is taken down and no longer a threat. But at the same time, he's looking over the data. Initially, during the free trial period, a lot of people bought extremists. And then, after 2 days, there was a sudden boom in downloads. Downloads went up by over 300%. And then, crime also began to rise. Izuku is going over it in his mind. The data right now shows a lot. There are people who are happy to have extremists. There are some who have been reserved, and they've even given reviews on the app. They've done a lot. They've changed their minds. And others, they are happy simply to have had a chance to use it. It's good. But you can clearly tell that the people who haven't re-downloaded the app are clearly suffering from withdrawals. And Izuku, he does have the idea going through his mind about what Tony Stark could do to create more profit from extremists. How to increase downloads. How to do much more. And it is a straight thought he does currently have. Him posing a query to Miss Costa. And right now, while that's currently happening, we do actually have Carol Danvers. Carol Danvers, she has been worried. She saw her past right in front of her again. A Miss Marvel who was drinking. A person who she does not want to be anymore. At some point in her past, she changed. She had to change. She had to get more mature, more responsible. Follow the law. Actually, be careful and listen. She's made mistakes with her powers, and it has cost her a lot. She lost her mother, and, well, that wasn't a good day. She lost Marvell, his sacrifice. She almost had to make the sacrifice herself. And that was after coming back to Earth, after everything, being part of the Starjammers, and after what the Brood did to her. It's just, there's a lot going through her head. At some point, she had to stop being so mature and grow up. But even whenever she tries to be on the side of authority, tries to undo these things she's done before, it hasn't been good. It seems like no matter what she does, she's always on the wrong side. She always isn't doing the right thing. It pisses her off. It really does. How is she supposed to be a better hero? No, a better person if she's always making mistakes. She cleared up one thing. She's done good in her life, in her career. But even then, it's just annoying. She doesn't want to sit here and sulk. She wants to go out and punch something. And it just annoys her. Currently, her talking with Miss Costa. And there actually is Deku, who currently will leave his lab. Right now, him expressing to Miss Costa about what to do. Right now, her having Deku stand up and walk over to a wall. The wall being to open up the side of the tower. And Deku, he'll get a step off. Right now, him bringing his hand up and pressing the button on his wrist, as he currently is falling. And the armor, it does mean a build up onto his arm. Currently, Deku going to actually blast off into the air and take flight. Him heading out to New York, currently trying to think. And Deku, while he is out, he does shift the plating on his suit. The color turning black as currently Deku flies through the night. And it does help him think. Tony Stark isn't buried anymore, though his corpse might still remain. Exhume it, look at what's there, it would mean something. It would give him closure. No, it wouldn't. It would certainly do a bit. He'd have to get... No. Pepper Potts. That's somebody he needs to talk to. Somebody he hasn't seen in a long time. And that, it means a lot. Currently Deku flying to a private residence. As currently Pepper does just don't sit there. Her with a lot going through her head. Trying to just think. Tony took back his company. She stepped down, and now she's... what? What's she supposed to do? Take the money he offered her, retire, spend the rest of her life just sitting around, catching up on everything? She's trying to get accustomed to the world after 5 fucking years. 5.5 of just being gone. It's not been easy. It hasn't been good. And one of the first things that happen when she comes back is, hey, you're no longer the head of Stark Industries. Oh, by the way, Tony fucking Stark is alive. Bye. It just... that's how it felt. Tony just kicked her to the curb. He was not himself either. And this, it pisses her off. Currently her hearing a tap on the door as she will get a turn. We're now her seeing a suit and being a bit annoyed. Her going to stand up and walk over. Now over the window does it open, there actually is where Deku would have his head currently be revealed by the armor. And Pepper will get some stare on. Her a little bit more surprised. Hello, Izuku. Miss Potts. It's been a long time. You've grown up. Right. Sorry, I didn't... It's been a lot. It's been... Sorry, I've had a bit too many. It's... Are you alright, Miss Potts? No, I'm not. It's good to see you, though. It's nice to see you too, Pepper. I'd like to talk to you. About Tony? Sure. What is it? I've been looking into a lot of things. I don't believe that he's himself anymore. He's not. Currently, Deku being allowed in. Ash gonna walk over and open the door. And Izuku will gonna land. Currently, him stepping into the room as she will just don't stand there. Right now, her going to actually get some water from the sink and turn back. Trying to tell Izuku, gonna set it down for herself. That she has been coping, trying to do a lot. Tony kept her around. However, when she began to ask questions and push a little bit, he transferred about 500 million into her bank account. And then, so eloquently, told her to fuck off. That's terrible. I know. I know. Though it could have been worse. I don't know what to do. He's buying companies. He's also acting out of the ordinary. He's a changed man. He's no longer the Tony I knew. It worries me. Miss Potts, it does worry me too. Listen, I had ideas. Ways to confirm whether or not this is actually Mr. Stark. Her turning her head. A little confused. And currently Friday will go to Express, alerting Izuku that there is something strange currently about the area, and that she is detecting extremists. Izuku turning his head and asking Miss Potts about extremist himself, asking if she has downloaded the app or has had it in use. Her nodding her head no, expressing about how she's not going to give Tony any of the fucking money he gave her, let alone download that godforsaken app. That thing has caused a lot of problems. She's seen the danger it does pose, and she is not falling down that rabbit hole. She's seen people get addicted to it. She's not being a part of that. Deku turning his head, asking Miss Costa to isolate extremist origin, and she would go to begin to do so. Deku looking around as he going to turn his head, looking directly at the cup of water that does sit on the counter. And Miss Costa will go to express that that is the origin of the extremists she is detecting. And Deku will go to walk over. Currently him bringing his hand up as his suit to have one of the fingers open up. Him lowering a syringe down into it and going to actually take some of the water. And this does currently confuse her. Deku turning his head and going to tell her he's got to do some scans on this. Something is clearly up, more than he presently thought. Telling Friday, telling Miss Costa to currently be in scans. Turning and telling Miss Potts that maybe she should just take the bottle of water for right now. And about how he's going to figure out what's going on with this. Be careful, Izuku. I will, Miss Potts. But by the way, I became a father in the last few years. I knew Rhodey. He was a good man. I knew a lot of people. You would have been. I don't know where to begin. I just want to talk to you. Thank you for everything. The opportunity, the resources. I'll do my best to fix this. I promise. Her staring at Izuku. And that just won't warm her heart. Currently, Deku walking away and going to fly up into the air. And Deku, he has been to run the scans. If Extremis is in the water source, then Tony must know about it. He must be the one who released it. And currently data, it does begin to pop up on his feed. And this is not very good. And currently there actually is Tony Stark, who does so sit there, enjoying his drink and looking over some data. Right now Stark Industries is making profits. And he is very happy about that. However, Jarvis will go to alert him that currently there is somebody who wants to speak with him. Hmm? Jarvis, who is it? Codename Invincible Iron Man. Decline call. I'm not here. Currently, I'm going to turn to his drink, going to take a sip, and thinking about what to do. The fiery redhead laying in his bed. How to deal with that? There's also that cute brunette. Right. Okay, so things are simple right where they are. Though, it does make me quite curious as to a lot. How to handle a few things. Maybe. Well, Tony turning his head again. Jarvis going dark, as the moment he doesn't hear a voice, Deku does go to express. You know, he's awfully ashamed. You broke my encryption. You know, hacking into my systems, you're disrupting a lot of things, Izuku. You mind leaving? No. In fact, I'm right outside. Mind stepping out to chat? Deku expressing. He found some information that Tony might like to hear. And besides, he's not leaving until they have a conversation. And this, it does annoy him. Currently him stand up and turn. Going to walk back over to his landing pad. We're now him looking up and seeing Deku, floating there in the armor with his arms crossed. And this, it does mean a lot. We're now him bringing his hands down as the armor does mean to cover his body. And he doesn't fly up into the air. We're now him asking Izuku exactly why he's interfering and getting in charge of his systems. Besides, does he know what could happen in less than a minute? A lot of things. So, if he has a good reason for interrupting his flow of the system or his network, he'd like to hear it. And Deku would fly forwards, bringing his hand up and creating a hologram, telling Mr. Stark that he found this in the water supply. So, would he like to explain that? And Tony would look at the data. We're now him looking back up at Deku, not saying a word. And Izuku, he stares at that, angry and annoyed, before going to pose the question Tony thought was going to be coming sooner, rather than later. Exactly who the fuck is he? I'm Tony Stark. No, you're not. You might be Tony Stark, in appearance, looks, and intellect. But you're not him at all. So again, who are you? Like I said, kid, I'm Tony Stark. No, you're not. Now, answer this question truthfully. And I will say it one more time. Who are you? I'm the superior. Deku will bring his hand up and clocking Tony across the face. Right now him being sent flying through the air and smashing down to the tower. As he would turn. Right now Deku, seeing that graphite material that was invisible on his face turned into his actual helmet. And Deku stares at Tony. Him turning back and telling the kid, you know, he really shouldn't have done that. We're now him flying up and smash right into Deku. And the two go flying into the air as Deku to bring his hands up. We're now him going to actually have a rocket be formed on the top of his hand as he goes to smash his fist down directly into Superior Iron Man's back. In Superior, he just don't feel that. Currently him activating the air brakes on his legs as Deku does a flying backwards. We're now him flipping around and bringing his hands down. Him setting up blast out as he does to activate his boosters. We're now him flying towards Tony and bringing his hands up. And the two, they do both go to collide their fist. Currently their suits going to try and fight against each other. And Deku does actually throw his propulsion system into overdrive, blasting at it Tony Stark as Tony is doing the exact same thing. And the two, they are staring each other down. Now, Deku, we're going to bring his left hand up. We're now him and Tony going to actually collide that fist as Deku, he does bring his hands back. Right now him smashing his fist outwards as Tony going to try an uppercut. The two both going to activate shields as Deku, he doesn't actually do one thing. He does a fly backwards and activating his Unibeam. Tony doing the exact same thing as you got blast their beams at each other. And currently they do go to collide. Them swung into a massive ball of energy, before it would explode in the air as in the two flying backwards. And currently Deku, he does activate an air brake. Right now him going to stabilize back out as he does a turn. Him looking towards Tony and trying to figure out what's going on. Now, Tony is nowhere to be seen, and this is not good. Him going to tell Miskasa to activate stealth systems. Currently his suit going to turn invisible. And Tony, he does just don't sit there. Him with a lot going through his own mind. Trying to tell Izuku about how he could have been the greatest hero in the world and still made a decent buck. But he decided to try and play, what? Paragon? Perfect Mr. Stark? The copycat. Fact is, he's stuck with the classic design. Red and yellow. Or is it gold titanium alloy? You know, a good alloy, but very limited. Fact is, kid, he was handed the tools. He didn't have the resources nor the money. So what is he doing now? Now he is trying to catch up. Trying to be the perfect hero he thinks he can. After all that happened was an Ultron robot took over his mind. Trust him, kid. He's used to mind games. Deku turning. Bring his hand up and blasting out. As currently superior, he got a turn. Him dodging the attack and throwing his hand as the tendrils of his suit to fly towards Deku. And Deku, he could have activated a shield. One of the tendrils shooting into the shield and trying to find a way in. Currently them wrapping around it as Tony does a fly forwards, informing the kid. You know it's useless. He's Tony motherfucking Stark. His suit will find a way to overcome his shields, find a way inside, and rip him out of that armor at any point. So, here's how this is going to go down. He is going to leave. Then things will be a lot more simple. And Deku, here's a stare at Tony, burning his left hand up as Tony is expecting an attack. But lowering those shields will mean quite a bit. And Deku, here's a flip his wrist. Currently Tony's suit being affected by the gravity tech inside Izuku's. Right now him being lifted around and spun around. Currently Tony trying to turn, activating countermeasures as it is to send him flying down to the ground. And the symbiote, it is a follow afterwards. Currently it basically on a string. And Deku, he has to lower his shields. Right now him turning his head and looking up. As there actually is where in space, Izuku, he does go to radio into a satellite. The message going straight back to the West Coast Avengers. And currently somebody, they do go to get the ping. Right now them going to get up and look at their watch, pressing the button and seeing the information. And it does just say one simple thing. Battling Superior, SOS. And this, it's not good. As right now there actually is Tony Stark, who does him rocketing back up, annoyed and pissed off. Gravity technology. Not a bad idea. Currently him rocketing up into the air and going to greet Izuku. Him trying to tell the kid that he really should not have done that. Besides, if he really wanted to play, they can play. And Deku would tell him. He's right. Currently him holding up his hand and blasting a missile straight at Mr. Stark. One of the tendrils flying out and slicing the missile in half. Currently it going to explode as Tony don't stand there. Him unaffected by anything. And Tony does begin to look around. As currently there actually is Izuku, who does come flying up and smashing into Tony Stark with an uppercut. Tony going to actually be sent flying through the air as he activates his air brake and bring his hands up. Him going to actually shift his left hand into an actual cannon. Him blasting out at Deku and going to use a lot of power. And Deku, he's going to evade. Currently the buildings of New York being attacked and cut into. And Deku, the moment his assistants do go to alert him to that, he's going to bring his hand up. Right now him throwing out a field in front of him as Tony does a smash right into it. And Deku, he is going to hold up the shield. Currently, him manipulating its shape and going to actually try and, well, make a shape around it, making a bowl around it so it cannot escape or be diverted. And this, it is not very good. Currently, Tony brings his other hand up and blasts out into the shield. Reno him expressing to the kid about how, you know, whenever he stops caring, he'll realize a few things. He'll realize how much better it is we can actually do whatever he wants. Isn't that what he's doing on the West Coast? Besides, everything is simple and easy. Deku turning back, and right now he would have formed his hands into cannons before going to lower the shields and blast out one of them. Right now, him being struck as he's going to do one thing. Right now, the right side of his mask is immediately damaged. Him feeling a crack and break, and then feeling the plates reshift and move in that area. And Deku, he has a blast back at Tony Stark. His blast blasting back at the man and going to actually fight back. And somebody, they do come rocketing in. Currently, Tony hearing a sound being followed by a massive strike. Him being sent flying through the air and smashing through buildings. As right now, Tony, he is struck by Captain Marvel. And there actually is Izuku. Izuku, he does get float there for a minute in the air. Him turning to Carol and going to somewhat nod, expressing about how he's really happy to see her. Now, Carol will get something turn back, and Superior does get to talk about it, flying up into the air, about how, he'll be back soon. Though, he's not going to come back to Stark Industries. The kid should know. If he does want to face him, truly actually end this, then hey, they can do that. He'll give the kid coordinates, a location. Though he is just ashamed. He's not actually using that cocky attitude of his. He's not backing up or going to how far he wants his intellect to be. Izuku likes to believe he's the only one who can save the world. He's not. I mean, yeah, it'll cause a lot of shit to get it done. But hey, guess what? They can get it done sooner. He's better. Flaunt the ego a bit. Maybe actually take a victory ride. Sorry, a victory lap. God knows Izuku needs it. He's off. Currently, Deku looking around and trying to tell Miss Costa about what to do. However, there is no reading for the superior Iron Man. She cannot track him down. And this, it does annoy Deku. Currently, him turning and going to fly up into the air. Him about to get ready for a lot. And there currently is Carol, who is going to fly up and talk about how he doesn't want to be found. So he won't be found. How do you know? You two are equal in stealth tech and capability, right? His suit was good. That's right. Fuck. He got into your head. No, he... Maybe. I'm going to turn. It began to fly back to the tower. Run out Deku with a lot going through his head. He wants to shut down everything and come back to New York. But the West Coast Avengers are making strides, doing a lot. Tony is going into hiding. His company is all automated. And Superior is popping up to stop crimes. If he takes down Tony Stark and stops extremists, it's going to cause problems. There are millions of people being affected by it. Okay, so he's got to find a way to fix it. Find a way to just handle Tony. Shit. This is on Deku's mind. And currently, Izuku, he does just don't sit there in his lab. And with a lot going through his mind. Reno him pouring a drink and going to set down the container. Him just turning back to his lab and expressing, asking Miss Costa about how long things will be. and she will go to Express. Current information is still unavailable. Right now, synthesizing a quote-unquote cure is going to be taking time, along with finding a way to neutralize what Mr. Stark has already done to the water in New York. So far, everybody will be believed to be infected by the end of the month, and addiction is still a high likely outcome for the effects being removed. Currently, withdrawal symptoms listed. And Deku, here's a turn, seeing that it's Carol Danvers with a knock on the door to the lab. Deku turning his head and having it open. Him setting down his drink and turning to Carol, going to Express, spinning around, her looking at Deku, walking in and asking him if he's got a lot to do. Hmm? Yeah, I do. Listen, I'm trying to figure out how to cure New York. You alright? I have a concussion. Along with that, the damage isn't fully healed. He got me pretty good in the face with a blast. I can tell. They could bring his hand up. Is it really that bad? He'll be done with a few hours of healing. Though, I did slow down Extremis a bit. What do you mean? My version. Ultron boosted it a lot. Version 2 is more manageable on my body. It's a lot more manageable. It does better, but I feel like withdrawing it back to just me feeling human is not good. I do like the enhancement. It does help. I don't turn to goo in my suit, too, so it's sort of a requirement now. Fair enough. And how are you doing? Better. A bit. Worried. I just need to figure this all out. Currently, Deku gonna turn and telling Carol if she wants to help him out, she can. However, tracking down Tony is going to be an abnormality. He's going to look into Stark Industries, and if they do have any current safe houses, they'll be using. Anything that can happen. Fuck. What is it? Riri, hang on. I'm turning and beginning to type in a few things. As right now, Miss Williams does get a security alert. Her turning her head and having information pop up. Deku expressing, is she okay? Long time no talk. It's been a minute. Yeah, it has. Good to see you again. Yeah, sorry. Listen, wherever you're at, be careful. I just ran into Superior as an enemy. He locked me out of my own goddamn lab. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. I don't have access to my suits. I can't call them, I can't get them, or even access them. I'm trying to get back to my systems, but he's locked me out. He has thought about destroying the warehouse. Oh my god. I'll send over a suit. What? I'll send over a suit. Come here and build one. I'll give you access to my armory. Alright? That or just use the suit and break in. Do what you want with it. I'm sending you codes right now to access it. Giving you authorization, too much. Though, I'm giving you access to lethal force. What? Yeah. Listen. The system of the suit can also be put in overdrive. Though if you do have to do that, you'll fry it. The suit will go through a 300% performance upgrade. But it's still dangerous. It sounds dangerous. Yeah. Wires will fry, and you'll burn through power. an exponential rate. Okay? Do what you will with the suit, but be careful with it. Also, Riri, what? If you do need to, stay here. There's always a spot on the Avengers for you over here, on the West Coast. I'll consider the offer. Though, I haven't been able to talk to heroes. So they are. Where are the heroes? You've been in New York, but you haven't written anybody? No, I haven't. It's been quiet. Oddly quiet. That's not good. Right. I'll take the suit and get back into the armory. I'll let you know more information afterwards. Right. Currently, her gonna hang up. And Deku, you guys don't sit back. Bring his hand up to her and think about what's going on. And Carol, we'll walk over. Bring her hand onto his shoulder. Informing him. Maybe, for a minute, let the computer deal with certain things. He's got his own version of extremist, right? Yeah, but it's more permanent. Uh-huh. So? Let the computer synthesize something. See about things there. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Thanks, Carol. Currently, her staring at Deku. And it does mean a lot. The two were at odds, but now they're getting better. They're working better. It's certainly been a strange month. Now, Deku, he does have something stand. Him going to head out because right now he's needing to catch up on some sleep. And Miss Danvers herself doesn't head back to her own quarters with a lot running through her mind. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.